From the entrepreneur's desk
to the industry front lines
and into real world operations.
I'm Aaron Cardell, joined by Kyle Hunter and Jake Hamilton, and we're here to take the pulse of real estate technology in just 20 minutes.
All right. Well, I want to welcome everyone to this episode of PropTech Pulse. We're here with Marc Davison, one of the founders of 1000 Watt, a real estate vet. He's been in the space for over 25 years and brings a ton of value to brokerages, tech providers, really everyone in the industry through the insights he brings to brand, to marketing, and to really delivering on the experience that we all look for as both real estate brokers and agents, and then tech companies as well. So Marc, it's great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Jake. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're super excited. Marc has helped Lone Wolf with our rebrand. Super excited to unveil new colors, new logo as we launch into this next generation of real estate. And as part of that, we just wanted to bring Marc to our listeners, to our customers, to share some of the insights he has on real estate branding and on the experience as a whole. So Marc, really excited to get your perspective. In the time you've been in the real estate space, branding has evolved significantly. What are the biggest changes you've seen in how real estate branding has changed and how real estate brands connect with their consumers?
Oh boy, you're just throwing me right into the deep end, huh?
Absolutely. That's what we do.
Okay. Well, I think fundamentally branding has not changed. I'm a big advocate for what I would call the science of branding. It's a science. Because when you think about what branding actually is, it is the action you take as a company to create some kind of emotional connection with your audience. So somewhere in the transmission of information, you're radiating out and creating a connectivity. That's what branding is. You're branding, or it's like we're talking right now. It's the same thing. Companies communicate through this thing we call branding, but it's communication. And if people on the other end pick up on it and feel something from it, then brand happens. So it's kind of a chemical, there's a chemical reaction there. So branding as a thing has been a consistent reality for eons. I think the ancient Egyptians were the first culture to invent the idea of literally branding their livestock. In other words, saying this livestock is ours by putting a mark on it. Well, brands do the same thing. It's saying these customers are ours and we are theirs through this transmission of branding. So that has not changed at all. What has changed in real estate, I think, has been maybe a slightly deeper layer of understanding that branding is something more than just putting a lot of yard signs around and having people recognize you're now, there's broker A. I see their signs everywhere. People used to think that was branding. That's not branding. That's just name recognition and it's marketing. So I think what's changed is, to a degree, there's a slightly deeper layer of understanding around what I just said and how to actually do branding beyond just making signs or putting flyers. In other words, branding is something deeper than just marketing.
Yeah, that's great. I really love the point there on branding being that first defining part of the relationship between you and a customer and you. And it's this area that's fraught with ways that you can stand out, ways that you can appeal to different consumers, different profiles, different people who might come to your business. But it's also this area where you can make meaningful missteps and mistakes that tarnish your brand and reputation. What are some of those mistakes and some of the pitfalls that you see agents and brokers fall into that you'd advise people, hey, watch out for this? What's most important when they're thinking about those components?
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to wheel out a 55-gallon drum of a list. All right, I'm going to stop in no particular order, but this is hitting me most importantly. The first mistake you make is having somebody running your marketing department who doesn't know what branding is. So we got very lucky with like this project with Lone Wolf because Lisa knows what branding is. Like her and I share the same understanding, which is the understanding that every brand agency or every brand person at a company understands that it's a scientific chemical thing, and companies have to actually do things to manifest branding. The biggest mistake I see is that there are people at the helm of marketing departments who think marketing is branding, and who think that branding is just recognition. And that's all they know. And so if that's all they know, then everything you're attempting to do to manifest that emotional connection with the world, it's not going to happen. You're not creating any of it. And that cascades into all the other things then that go wrong, which is inconsistent everything. So I'll give you an example. I ran into this just the other day. We sent a new client a questionnaire to fill out, and they fill out all these questions that I'm asking them about their brand. In other words, I'm trying to dig into the personality of the company. And I see all these answers, and then I go to look for proof to substantiate whatever they've told me. I can't find a single aspect of proof. So, like one of the questions was, what do you do besides, if you were to answer the question, what is it that you do? But you can't say we help people buy and sell real estate. Their response was, well, we help people navigate and find themselves within the community that's right for them. Okay, that's a great answer. So I go to their website. There's not a single stitch of information at all about the community. So this is illustrative of like you can't say something that you are and then not have any activated proof that exists in the world. So if you say you're into X, then everybody should see it, feel it. There should be proof, or we call like reasons to believe. Mm-hmm. Real estate is very good about broadcasting lots of good sounding sound bites. But then when you go to try to find living proof of that, it's not there. So, the syndrome of like best kept secret. Like, we're such a great company. How come nobody knows about us or knows what we do? It's like, because you don't tell anybody. It's not evident. And I think that, back to your first question, what's starting to happen is people are starting to realize that they need to manifest their value in ways that become a lot more evident to the world. And
do you think there's somebody in real estate that's doing a really good job of that right now?
Lisa, that's a fantastic question. And I want to think about that. I mean, my first response would always be to go to like a client we've worked with. Yeah. Because I'm aware of what they're doing intimately, so I can speak to it. Plus, like they came here to help us, to help them do that.
Right. So the clients you work with are already forward thinking about that.
Well, I think about you guys. Like, do you remember after we got done with the logo work, we began working on all of this documentation, and this was your agenda. We have to create living, breathing reasons to believe. So to work through all the copy to make sure that like all the great things that we do as a company is very evident to the people who come and read different things. There's a brokerage in Colorado, Slifer, Smith, and Frampton, who are extraordinary communicators of their value proposition. Hawaii Life is probably, I'm going to say something controversial because I can't help myself, but it's also truthful. There are very few brands in real estate. Really. Most of them think they're brands, but like if you were to say to somebody, well, what do they do besides sell real estate? No one would be able to answer that. And if you were to ask somebody, what does Nike do besides selling shoes? There'd be an answer to that.
Yeah.
Or what does Apple represent in the world beyond devices? You'll be able to answer that. But there are some brokerages that when you look at their logo, hear their name, you conjure up bigger, different stories above and beyond the utility or their functionality. So Hawaii Life is an absolute brand of perfection in my mind. They represent something bigger than buying and selling real estate. Michael Saunders in Sarasota, Florida, an awesome company that is known for more than just the utility. So I think there are some tech companies. Obviously you guys, and I'm not just saying that, but we did the work, so we know that like Lone Wolf is a brand. People tie. So how do I apply that to you guys? If I were to say to somebody, what does Lone Wolf do? They say, well, they provide a lot of technology. But if I were to say to them, well, what do they do for you? Like, describe the relationship or the benefit, because we've done that work. We've asked people. And what they go into, it doesn't mention the technology. It mentions, they make us more successful. They make us more organized. Now they're starting to speak in terms of like what we call brand talk. I don't know any real estate agents who are brands, except that they all think that they're brands, but they're not. They have well-known images. They're known in the community, but they're not brands yet. What was that, Lisa?
I was thinking like that's a good question, like as a marketer, right? To ask yourself going in, like, how do I get beyond utility? I think those are the questions you asked me when we started right? Getting beyond, we sell tech or we have software. Like, what is that beyond? What is it helping? And I think if people ask themselves that question, you get to the heart of your brand. But it is a lot of time spent asking those questions and digging deeper and peeling away that onion. And then also to figure out, the reasons to believe. So the most important part of branding is you can't just say you're something. You actually have to be something and act as something, right? So unless you know what that is and how to get everyone on board for that, the colors and all of that won't matter. So I think
no. You could say you're a brand. Everybody has the right to identify any way they want. And so you want to say you're a brand, go ahead. The thing is, there's no value there unless other people can say that.
Right.
And if other people can say, oh, well, yeah, they're definitely a brand, and here's why they're a brand, and their reason is beyond, I've had these conversations, intimate ones with individual like agents, and they go, well, we're a brand. What's the brand based on? Well, we do a great job. It's like, but you're supposed to do a great job. That's your job, to do a great job. You don't build brand around doing your job. You have to, right. The local coffee shop who makes good coffee is just a local coffee shop that makes good coffee. They're not a brand. And so like we could spend hours and hours like delving into the triggers that, now I think it's possible for some agents but they have to get beyond themselves. And this is important for all companies. You can't be a brand if all you ever talk about is yourself. There was Joseph Campbell wrote a book called The Hero's Journey, and then Donald Miller took that and created Story Brand. And I think if you've read either one of them, if you read both, you realize that like the job of a job of a company or a job of a business is to create products, put products out in the world, keep perfecting those products, making it better so people continue to buy them over and over again, and build a good reputation. That's what a business does. What a brand does, above and beyond that, is it tells the stories of success of its clientele. The hero's journey. The customer is the hero. So if all your marketing, all your storytelling centers around how great you are and how wonderful you look on here's my picture here and here's my picture there, you're not branding. You're putting your image out to the world. But if there's no room for me to see myself within your story, brand is not happening. And it is a sacred thing, because if you could make it happen, and where I live, there's really only one way out into the world. I'm way remote. So when I head out into the world, I eventually pass a shopping center that has a big step van parked at the edge of it with a real estate agent, a big picture of the agent with a basketball spinning on his finger. That the belief is that he's branding.
Right.
As what? A realtor that spins a basketball. Like, how does that benefit me? Where am I in that storyline? And until I can see myself in that or in something else, I recognize that. That's a popular thing, but there's not like this thing called brand. But when there is, the value of that is tenfold.
Right. It's really trying to figure out, where am I driving a brand? Where am I driving an experience for my customer versus where am I driving familiarity and recognition? And I think those two are kind of a lot of what people get confused on, or do familiarity over a brand. But with that, I want to pivot a little bit, Mark. And as agents listen, as people are thinking about driving this brand and driving an experience and something that's more than just I sell real estate, what are the ways that they can bring together branding and technology to really drive that home, drive that messaging, and make it clear out in the marketplace, and really clear who they are and the value they provide?
So if I understand, the question is, how can agents and brokers use technology to enhance brand?
Yes.
I have a feeling you want me to say something here that I can't say.
I want you to say exactly what you want to say.
I don't think technology is ambient. It's just ambient. It's really a convenience thing. So sure, if you as a service provider are using a technology to create more convenience, that's cool. But like, to my point earlier, that's expected. Like, do you ever get into a cab when you just can't get the Uber and you're sitting back there going, really? Like, I have to tell you how to get to where we're going, or I got to put my credit card in at the end? Like, there's now this expectation that you should just be able to get into any kind of a livery service, and just, they know where to go, and you arrive and you can get out the door. So arguably the tech is no longer like even Uber's brand, magic. It's not that. It is immediacy. And so I don't know. I think like it's critical to use technology to run your business. How do you leverage that? I think the only way I could really think of is if you are a brokerage and you are looking to recruit agents, and you can bring state-of-the-art technology as a service provision to those agents. That's powerful. But I think if you're like an agent, you're expected to have technology. You're expected to like have a text number. You're expected to respond to email. All of it is expected. I think it's like we're past that point of, there was a time, Jake, way back, where like, if you had like a tablet computer in 2004, that was kind of a wow factor to walk in to a listing presentation and pull out like a Toshiba tablet and like walk people through a map or something. That was kind of, that was a wow factor back then. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, yeah, everybody's got that.
Right. There's no technology magic bullet at this point. It's there, it supports you, it gives you time, but it's really, what experience can you provide? How does it support what you provide there? Buying tech without having the brand doesn't do it all in one.
No, but like, okay, so here's a hack. It's not that you have tech, but it's the ingenious ways in which you can use your tech to blow somebody away. So as an example, if I knew that, like Lisa, if I were coming to your home to do a listing presentation. You and your husband want to sell your house, and I know that. It's Tuesday, and I'm going to be there on Thursday. Why wouldn't I use all the technology that I have at my disposal to do things that by the time I arrive at your house, I already have your home completely set up to be marketed? I've already had a drone photographer come out. I've had a video person shoot on the outside. I've done all my research internally, and I've already created the marketing flyer. I built the property website. So when I sit down with you, I go, hey, let me show you what I just did. You don't have to talk about, oh, I have all this great technology. Show it.
That's the reasons to believe that we earlier, right? You're showing your brand, you're showing that connection, and that'll go a lot further. I like that a lot.
So to your point, you're showing your brand.
You showed up like that.
I don't know anybody that does. I'm sure there are, but to that last point you said, now you're showing your brand. That's when, if you did that, I guarantee you a seller would go, whoa, how did you do all that? The minute you get, how did you do all that? Now you've piqued their curiosity in a new way. Nobody goes, oh, okay, I think your house is worth $8 million. Well, how do you figure that out? People know how agents do that. They have a CMA. Everybody knows what that is. But if you could do some things that get people to really wonder about how you did that, now you become a magic person. And the way you respond to that. So if it were me, I would say, hey, look, I take every listing appointment seriously, and I know time is of essence. So in the couple of days that I had between now and then, I had my team go out. So now I'm saying my team. Now I'm bigger than just me. We did our research. We did our writing. We set everything up, because if you want to go forward, I'm ready to go right now. And we can get your home. So now there's something going on that's bigger than just marketing. So Jake, it's about the clever ways that you could use the tech you have to do things that would really impress people, or that things that no one else is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Marc, want to thank you so much for joining our podcast today. Love the insight, love how we talk about a brand it's not just some images and a cool logo. That's a part of it, but it's a visual identity. It's a creative expression of who you are and what you provide to a consumer and how you drive that relationship forward. And the insights you provided, I think, are of great value to our customers. I know for us, through our own rebrand process, working with the team at 1000 Watt was incredibly valuable. We're super fortunate to have partners as great as you all. And thank you for taking the time to join us today.
My pleasure, Jake. Thank you. Thank you. Lisa, great to see you again.
Always a pleasure.
Same.
Thank you for everything you did for us.
That's our Pulse for today.
Keep innovating.
Keep implementing.
And keep moving real estate forward.